Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to yet another weekly reading vlog. It is Tuesday. We just had a long weekend and the long weekend's getting even longer because my partner has a snow day today. We are keeping our fingers crossed that he has a snow day tomorrow as well, or if not a snow day, at least a work from home today, just because there's not like an insane amount of snow, but just based on the roads and everything, unless the roads really clear up, it's gonna be safer for all involved if we all stay home. And of course, me selfishly, I work from home. I would love to have him here because he's my partner and I like spending time with him or whatever. So happy Tuesday. I feel like this is going to just feel like a very short week because it kind of is. I worked a little bit on Monday. I worked a little bit today as well. So even though my partner has snow days, I'm still kind of working. I am spending more time with him though than I usually would in a day. So that's kind of fun. But just I feel like it's Tuesday. That's crazy that it's already Tuesday, especially if he gets another snow day tomorrow. I just feel like this week is just gonna go by so fast. So welcome to the weekly reading vlog. Hope everyone is staying warm and as safe as they can. I know especially in like Texas, a lot of things are happening with just like infrastructure in the South, just not, and especially in Texas, just not being able to support people that live there. And I hope everyone is just staying warm, staying safe as they possibly can. And if you live in the north, don't make any comments about how it isn't that cold. True cold is up north and stuff like that, because the South does not have the infrastructure that the north has, and just it's not a great look when people in Texas especially are freezing, and all of the comments on the post will be like, well, that's what you get for living in Texas, voting the way that you do, and just really being quite cruel. Because as a people, I mean, we can vote, we can say what we want, we can beg our elected officials to care about us and not let us freeze, but it's not our fault when our elected officials go to Cancun or something when we're freezing. So I hope everyone is staying safe, and again, if you're in the north, shh, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all, because I mean, we get it. I've lived in the north, I've lived in the south. This is not as cold as some temperatures that I've experienced before in snow days in the north, in northern Ohio, but northern Ohio also has infrastructure that southern Arkansas doesn't. So keep that in mind when you're engaging with other people's content, especially when it comes to winter weather and who's getting snow days and who's not getting snow days. And so anyway, PSA done. Don't be a mean person. Let's get into talking books. I wanted to reread the whole Throne of Glass series before the third Crescent City book came out. I am on Kingdom of Ash. I would like to start Kingdom of Ash today, and I also want to reread Crescent City 1 and 2. I don't want to reread Akatar because I feel like I reread those last summer, so I feel like that's fresh enough in my mind, but I definitely wanted to refresh myself with not just the characters, but also like the lore and offhanded comments in this series, for reasons, before Crescent City 3 came out. So it's a huge undertaking. I am gonna start this week. I don't know how much I'll update just because it's a reread. It's Throne of Glass. I don't know how much I could talk about it without spoiling the rest of the, what, six or seven books before this one. So this is my physical book for the week. It's also very shiny, so I can't wait to take this dust jacket off so that the glare isn't as intense, but going to be reading this week. In terms of audiobooks, I'm about 30% of the way through Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. This is about a group of people who are traveling to a mountainside resort for just a week or so of rest and relaxation. They are on the tour bus, they're driving up to their destination. A blizzard blocks the road, stops the bus in their tracks. So this group of tourists is stranded in the middle of the wilderness. They manage to find an abandoned cabin and spend the night, hoping the blizzard will be over in the morning. But the group wakes up and realizes that their tour guide has been murdered and that it's probably one of the people on the tour that done it. So this is a locked room sort of murder mystery with a Darcy Coates horror twist. I feel like I've talked a lot about Darcy Coates this year. I think I've mentioned one of her books at least in every single reading vlog this year, which granted I think there's only been 2 of at this point, but still, I'm really enjoying her work. This is my third book by her, and just the cover, I had to pick it up during a snowy weekend, right? Because that's just the ambiance. It definitely adds a little something to the reading experience. So those are my 2 book plans, and that's all I'm gonna give for the book plans in this introduction to the vlog, because I'm a mood reader. Who knows what I'm gonna pick up next, but I am going to, you know, start Kingdom of Ash, keep reading my audiobook, and then we'll kind of sort through my Libby holds a little bit later on in the week, probably tomorrow, or, you know, when I've finished Dead of Winter, maybe, I don't know. Another book will be picked up, I'm sure, between this update and the next update, but I couldn't tell you what it is. You're gonna find out before me, I'm sure, technically, when it comes to this vlog, because you're gonna see the B-roll footage, and then I'll talk about it in another update, because, you know, that's how reading vlogs work. So I'm gonna go get back to work, and then I'm gonna start reading, and then I will check back in with you all with another reading update tomorrow. Hey there, happy Thursday. I am very sweaty and pink-cheeked. I just finished my workout, and of course the pink LED ambiance does not help the pink cheeks situation, but I just finished Dead of Winter. It was actually like perfect timing. As I was listening to the audiobook, I was working out, and right when I got to the cool down portion of my workout, that's when the last chapter happened. So I finished that. I really enjoyed it. Definitely reiterating what I said earlier about this being probably the darkest Darcy Coates book that I've ever read, just because, you know, even I think you could maybe tell based on the synopsis how it's a survival story and people are getting picked off one by one. Normally in Darcy Coates horror that I've read, the deaths are either off screen, off page, or people generally survive, our main characters generally survive, which is, I feel like, makes it cozy horror. And then there's not a lot of gore. This one definitely gets very bloody. I enjoyed it. Definitely was a very perfect read for this week when it's been so snowy, because it's definitely a book that feels like you are trapped in a cabin and there's snow outside, and you feel all of that. You feel that peril, that survival, and that ambiance, all of that. So I enjoyed it. I figured out who done it. I'm not gonna say anything more about that. I do think that all the pieces are laid out in a way that it feels gratifying if you figure it out. And you know, there are some red herrings, so it's not a straightforward one that I think you'll be able to guess from page one. Like, I just feel very proud of myself that I managed to figure out the twist. I don't think it's one that if you read it, you'll be disappointed if you guess the twist. I think you'll be proud of yourself, because I didn't think it was like glaringly obvious. Just as we kept getting more clues, I kind of figured out. So another entertaining read by Darcy Coates, and I was a little bit worried because while I did want that Dead of Winter ambiance, I don't typically enjoy survival stories. I just don't. Survival horror is not like my top genre. Not to say that it's an automatic no-go for me, because I'm thinking of several things, although mostly the survival in the wilderness, the books that I've read that have really worked for me usually have paranormal twists. This one does not. And also I just think it's funny to me, that's not something I usually gravitate towards, because the next book that I'm going to pick up, another NetGalley one, I've just been feeling very lucky this month in terms of NetGalley releases. This one actually already has come out, because this update is the 18th. I believe this book came out on the 16th, but that is this Wretched Valley by Jenny Kiefer. And as you can tell maybe by the cover, the very cool cover of this one, this is also another survival horror, and the blurb is "Take only pictures, leave only bones." It's about a group of people. They go on an expedition. They disappear. 7 months later, 3 bodies are discovered. One of these people, though, that went on the expedition is still missing. There's been no trace of her dead or alive. And the question remains, were these climbers murdered? Did they succumb to cannibalism? Or are their impossible bodies the work of an even more sinister force? So here's hoping that means that that is paranormal. But either way, I'm excited about this premise. So that's what I'm going to pick up next for my, I was gonna say physical book, but I do also have Kingdom of Ash, my physical book. So that'll be my ebook. And then in terms of audiobooks, I also would like to pick up an audiobook, just because I've been in a really good audiobook kick lately. So I'll have to look through Libby, I think, to figure out what audiobook that I want to pick up. But Kingdom of Ash, still reading that. There's a lot of what I think is foreshadowing that's going to impact certain other releases that are coming out. So I'm having a really good time reading that one. And we'll start this Wretched Valley today and figure out maybe, we'll see what I pick up for an audiobook. Oh, maybe I could pick up the Atlas Complex. I think I'm gonna pick up the Atlas Complex because I have that via audiobook. I haven't gotten a chance to purchase a physical copy yet, but I have my audiobook copy, so I think I'll listen to that. That sounds good. Yeah, I think I might listen to that, but we'll see. We'll see what my plans will be. But just wanted to come on and give a quick little reading update and just capture like my initial thoughts of Dead of Winter, because I just thought that was such serendipitous timing that I was working out and that it ended at like the same time that my workout did, because I didn't think it would. That's just me being bad at math, because it didn't say that I had 30 minutes left in the audiobook and the workout was 30 minutes because I was listening to it on 1.5 times speed. It just worked out really perfectly. But that is going to be it for today's update. I will talk to you all tomorrow with another one. Hey friends, guess who has 2 thumbs and just recorded this whole entire clip without it actually recording? Me! So happy Sunday. It has been a while since I have given an update, just because this weekend was my time of the month and I just had the worst possible cramps, so that was an absolute delight. Y'all didn't miss much. Yesterday I was pretty much lying in bed all day with a heating pad, so fun stuff all around. I did manage to finish and even start. I don't think I started this book in my last reading update, but this Wretched Valley by Jenny Kiefer, I managed to finish this one. This is a survival wilderness horror with paranormal aspects, and it is inspired by the Dyatlov Pass, but it takes place in the Kentucky wilderness. And the story starts off with remains of 3 hikers are found. They're found in very strange condition, and all of them had gone missing at the same time, the same exploration, but the status of the remains is very, very different. The state of decomposition is very different. No one knows what happened to them. There are very weird things happening with the bodies. So everyone is really puzzled what happened to these hikers, and as well, what happened to the fourth hiker in their expedition, because there's only 3 bodies and the other person still has not been found yet. So that's our opener, and then we flash backward in time and we meet our 4 ill-fated hikers. We've got 2 people who are going on this expedition to gather research for their graduate studies, and then 2 people, one of them is a rock climbing influencer and the other is her business partner and also real life partner, and their dog. And I will say, because the author has been using this in marketing materials and everything, she's very upfront about it, nothing happens to the dog. The dog lives, the dog does not die. So if you're worried about that, you can read this. But the 4 of them are going on this expedition because Clay, one of the graduate students, has found a location that has been untouched. It's an untouched ecosystem, it's an untouched cliff face, which encourages the mountain climbers to come and like be the first people to climb the mountain. So they are all very excited. They go into the forest and obviously none of them come back alive. 3 of them end up as remains and one of them has not been heard from. She's still missing. So throughout this book, you are just following what happens to them in this very, very strange, cursed, wretched valley. I know this said it was inspired by the Dyatlov Pass. I also get very, very strong the Blair Witch Project vibes from this one. It's not found footage or anything like that, but just the fact that you know from the get-go something happens to these people. So it's not necessarily a journey of what happens to our main characters, but like how it happens and like what exactly happens. We know something bad happened, but we have no idea what happened, so we're following that. I had a fun time reading it, definitely. I think also, you know, The Ruins by Scott Smith, I believe. If you liked that, I think you're gonna like this as well. I didn't actually love any of the main characters. There was one that I liked. There's one that I liked, but I think that's also kind of the point, and I think it makes almost survival horror or wilderness horror like this kind of more engaging, because I would say they're not unlikable in a horrible way, because I love the Blair Witch Project. I think most of the characters in that, except for one, are very unlikable. Same thing, same sort of thing going on with this. It's not that they're evil people, but I think that making them like very flawed and very realistic kind of adds to the horror, kind of adds to the everymanness of it all, because they're just people who are hiking and exploring in the wrong stretch of woods. So I thought that was very interesting. I also really enjoyed the paranormal aspects of this one because I do like wilderness horror. I also love there to be a dash of the paranormal in there, just because paranormal horror is my favorite. It's what has my heart. So this one was very enjoyable. I'm still slowly making my way through the Atlas Paradox. Other than reading that yesterday, I didn't really do much. I took a lot of naps. I took a bath. Like, it was a very laid back and relaxed day. So not too much in terms of a reading update. I do want to pick up, I was looking through my Libby holds, and because I have had such a success with Dead of Winter and then also this Wretched Valley, both of which are kind of like, you know, wilderness survival of the elements sort of horror. I have Green Fuse Burning by Tiffany Morris checked out, which I don't think it's like survival. I think it's eco horror in some way. And I think it's a shorter book as well. So I think I'm gonna pick that one up. And then in terms of the Atlas complex, I have read about 5% of that audiobook and I'm enjoying it. I didn't really listen to it at all yesterday. I just wasn't feeling like mentally all with it to like really focus about like high concept philosophy and like good and evil and all of that. So I had that on a bit of a back burner. I do plan to pick it up today, tomorrow. I have no idea when this vlog is going to wrap up. I don't think it's very long right now, so it'll probably go, I don't know, a couple days more. I was originally planning on ending it on Monday, but just because I haven't updated, I don't think like at all this vlog. We're gonna keep the good vibes rolling. So I think that's the plan. I think I'm gonna pick up Green Fuse Burning by Tiffany Morris and then also keep reading the Atlas complex. I also have Kingdom of Ash floating around. I had wanted to finish that before the third Crescent City book came out, and I think it's like 9 days until that comes out. So it's crunch time for that, but I don't know, we'll see. I think I can do it all, but yeah, definitely feeling a lot better than I was yesterday, and I'm gonna spend another day. We have to go grocery shopping, I think, but we usually wait until later on Sunday because Sunday afternoon grocery shopping is just a nightmare. So I think we're gonna go grocery shopping tonight, but other than that, just relaxing and reading is all I have planned for today. So I'm going to go do that, and I will check back in later with another reading update. Hey, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another very dreary day of reading updates. It's not even snow anymore, so it's not fun, it's just rain. But I did end up finishing Green Fuse Burning by Tiffany Morris, and this one, very short. It's always hard for me to know because I did read it via ebook on my phone, but I think this one is less than 100 pages, and we are following our main character. Her father has recently died, her estranged father, but her father nonetheless, and she's having issues with that. Obviously, she's having issues because Rita, our protagonist, is also struggling with not just her father's death, but also being estranged from her mother. She's also having relationship issues with her girlfriend, and the fact that for her father, like, her father's death really has cut her off from her only avenue, or so she thinks, of kind of embracing and experiencing her Micmac heritage, because she has been raised primarily with her mother and has felt very disconnected from that culture, that heritage, for such a long time. And with her father's death, she kind of feels like that avenue is closed to her in a way forever. She gets an opportunity to go to a secluded cabin in the woods for an artist's residency, and as she's painting and dealing with her grief, she starts experiencing things in the forest that may or may not be supernatural, paranormal, not of this world. This one was a struggle for me to get through, honestly. Even though it was short, I almost DNF'd it just because, for me, and this one also was great about including the trigger warnings beforehand, which is great, but this one really deals with Rita's struggling. She is struggling with all of this grief that she has, and then just intense feelings of depression and wanting to end her own life. So if that is like a triggering subject for you, definitely tread with caution, because I did almost DNF this one. I'm ultimately glad that I didn't, but it was just a personal struggle for me to read Rita's mentality and Rita's thought processes during this time. So that was rough, but I ended up, you know, finishing this one. The author's note at the end was very interesting because she was talking about the way that we as a society deal or really don't deal with grief, the way that we've kind of become disconnected to it. So like the unhealthy coping mechanisms of how we don't deal with grief correctly or healthfully is kind of also the same way that we as a society are dealing with like the climate crisis. So this is like definitely eco horror as well, and I thought that was a really interesting parallel to explore the grief journey and the journey of someone feeling so desolate on a personal level, and then also as, you know, the world is burning around us level. I think this is the like novel, I don't know, not novel, but like fiction debut. I think this author has written poetry before, horror poetry, I think, which is super cool. So all in all, short read, eco horror read, and also art was very heavily featured in here. I think I had some b-roll, like even on my ebook copy, which is not a physical copy. I feel like this one, if you can hunt down a physical copy, you should read it that way, because there is art throughout this one, and I feel like it adds an extra layer because Rita, our protagonist, is an artist, and the way that she views the world and the way that she's even experiencing these things is very much through an artist's lens. So I'm done with that one, and I thought that I would have more to say about the Atlas Complex. I'm 30% of the way through, and I don't know, guys. The Atlas 6 is like one of my favorite books of all time. The Atlas Paradox, which is the second book in the series, I still really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. This one, it's not necessarily like the content, I'm not disliking it, but I'm not like so invested. Like the Atlas 6, I could not put it down. I basically read it in a day. I was so invested, I loved it. This one, I'm listening to at a much slower pace, and part of that is because I think definitely one narrator has changed, because this is a full cast narration, so every single person's point of view, they have their own audiobook narrator, which I loved. In this one, I could have done research and told you this definitively, I'm sure. Definitely Parisa's voice actor was changed, and I don't love that. And I feel like someone else's has changed as well that I can't put my finger on. Either the actor has changed, or the way that they've decided to portray their character through voice narration has changed, and just there are some other points of view in here that have other audiobook narrators, and I don't think they got the memo also of who is supposed to sound like what, because there are various different accents in here. Like there are British accents, there are South African accents. A lot of characters have very distinctive voices and the ways that they talk, and it's not consistent throughout everyone's point of view. So that's just a struggle in terms of the audiobook. I'm very saddened that it's not all of the same cast as it was in the Atlas 6, because I think the Atlas 6 absolutely nailed it with their voice acting and their casting for all of the different characters. So that's kind of a bummer. I've also been seeing a lot of people like hating on this, which normally doesn't bother me too much, but it has me, and I think it's just I am like having a little bit of an anxious mental health time right now too. It has me very anxious that because I'm seeing other people not love it, that I'm worried and putting a lot of pressure on it, and putting a lot of pressure on myself, and like worrying while I'm reading it. Like I feel like I'm not immersing myself. I feel like I am reading a book instead of experiencing a story, because I am worried that I'm not going to love it. So that has all been very frustrating. I did also start another reading vlog in concurrent with this one. Like it's not like a weekly reading vlog, but it's a themed reading vlog. So I've also been reading something else, but just the Atlas Complex, it's, you know, I've got 10 hours left, and I don't know, I don't want to DNF it, because it's not like I'm not enjoying it, but I almost want to DNF it right now, just because maybe I need to read this one physically, because the audiobook's kind of bumming me out with some choices that were made, or I don't know, I just need to give it time and like wait for some of the hype to die from it, like some of the hype to die from around it, because I just feel like it's probably going to be an ending. I don't know how to say this without spoiling anything else, but I feel like probably, I know a lot of people did not like The Burning God as an ending to the Poppy War trilogy. However, thematically, with the whole entire series, it's a perfect ending to that series, and it makes a whole lot of sense. This one, I feel like from the first book, and the themes of power, and the themes that are going on in this series, I don't think it's going to end well. I think it's not going to be like a happily ever after. I definitely don't think that. So I'm wondering if it's not because the writing isn't good, but just because the ending is just like not like good. Does that make sense? Like the ending is technically maybe written well, but it's not like a happily ever after, like someone's gonna die, right? Like we've known that from the first book that, hi Obi, that is kind of one of the things that needs to happen in this story. Of our 6 main characters, one of them has to die. So we know that from the first book. It hasn't happened yet. I'm sure it's going to happen. And this is so character driven that, you know, you're invested in all 6 of these main characters. So it's not the update that I wanted to give on the Atlas complex, that's for sure, but yeah, 32% of the way through it. I'm not loving it, I'm not hating it, I'm just listening to it. So I think, I don't know, I might DNF it, we'll see. We'll have to see in the next update for this reading vlog, because I feel like maybe it's putting me into a reading slump, which I don't want. And I don't want to pick this up with the wrong expectations or read it in a bad headspace, because I don't think that's gonna be good for my mental at all. So you'll see in the next B-roll clip, I'm sure, if I decide to continue to stick with this or not, or pick up something else. But yeah, that's really all I have for today's reading update. I'm gonna go make some lunch now, maybe figure out if I'm going to listen to the Atlas Complex as an audiobook or pick up another audiobook, and I will talk to y'all with another reading update a little bit later. A little update, not a reading update, but if it's not books in the mail, this is the second best mail to get. Not sponsored, gosh, can you imagine? Boxu hit me up. But Boxu Market, our order just came. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Me and my partner live in an area that does not have any sort of Asian supermarkets. We used to have one, and it closed down, which is very sad. So every once in a while we hop on Boxy Market and just order some fun things. First of all, order like some ramens. That's like primarily the thing. We're big ramen people, and I'm vegan and he's like flexitarian, so it's nice to have flavors that aren't just like the soy sauce flavor. So it's fun to get some new and fun things to try. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about all of these. We usually get a good mix of like noodles that we've had before, and then trying out new things as well. So yeah, we're definitely having ramen tonight. Definitely having some ramen, and of course some candy as well. Not for dogs, Obi. Sorry, bud, not for dogs. This is gonna keep us stocked up for a good long while with some pantry staples like ramen that's like cheap, easy, very fast dinner, and then also just like some more fun things as well, like this gum. I can't remember, I think this was like ramyun flavored gum, and Obi's trying to eat the side of the box. But things like this, not a pantry staple, but fun to try alongside all of this good stuff. So yeah, we're having ramen tonight, and potentially some of this candy as well. I don't know, I go on their website and like click the vegan filters, so I'm not really sure what this is. This is hard candy, I think. We've got some gum, we've got some like red bean, I think this was red bean, and like taro chewy candies as well. So yeah, we've got it all. I'm excited. friends, quick little update while I'm waiting for my lunch, the soup over there, to cool. But I feel like it's been a while since I last updated. I feel like I'm introducing every single clip in this vlog with "it's been a while," but I feel like it has. I feel like I haven't been updating every single day, which, you know, it is what it is. Things have been busy, but in like a very boring way when it comes to like the busyness just being from work and everyday sort of things. So yeah, let's talk about books. I did decide to temporarily DNF the Atlas Complex. I think I might try picking it up in about a month or so, just because I want to sit down and enjoy it and love it. I don't want to read it because I feel like I have to because it just came out. There's not a shelf life. There's not a shelf life or an expiration date on new book releases. So I feel comfortable enough where I can avoid spoilers and all of that. So I did temporarily decide to DNF that for right now. And then because I did get in this Libby library hold that I have been waiting for, I think I placed a hold on it since November. I want to say like early November or late September is when I placed this hold, and I am a little crotchety about it because I feel like someone must have had to like set their phone to airplane mode for a while or something, because it was not budging. It was not budging from my place in line since I had placed a hold on it. But that would be Briardark by S.A. Harian, and I'm enjoying this one. I actually heard of this one from Riley Marie, and she kind of described it as a like if for fans of Lost, because it is another survival wilderness horror that just seems to be kind of the unofficial theme of this vlog, which is very funny because this one I had wanted to read for a while and just didn't anticipate getting it this week in from the library. So this one, it's following like an expedition. They're hiking on this mountain. Things are not what they appear. Like time, space, everything seems to be a little bit wonky. Something happened to that crew. We're also kind of going forward in the future and following someone else who has found documents and video and audio recordings from this cruise expedition. So we're flipping back and forth. It has a found footage element, which I love. And while I have not actually seen all of Lost, I have seen a good bit of the first couple seasons, but I've not seen all of Lost. But from what I get that comparison. I think that's a very apt comparison with it is like primarily you think the main characters and the main characters themselves think it's just a straightforward survival situation until very weird, almost like sci-fi things start happening. So I am very much enjoying that one. I'm about now I'm about 50%, 53% of the way through this one, and I am having a really good time with it. What I am glad that I know that I got this book rec from someone else, because I know people who didn't know this was the first book in the series are disappointed that it like ended on a cliffhanger, but I know because people have already talked about it. Riley Marie has already talked about it, and some reviews have already talked about it, that this ends on a cliffhanger and it leaves you with more questions than answers. So knowing that going in, I'm very intrigued to see where this story is going to go, and I'm enjoying it. Definitely having a lot of fun with that. I am also reading Kingdom of Ash. I am not as far through that as I was expecting, because at this point in time, it's Friday. Did I mention it's Friday? It's Friday. It's Friday the 26th, and my semi-delusional mind thought that I could read that and then the 2 Crescent City books before Crescent City 3. We'll see. We'll see about that one. Honestly, I feel like if I just have time this weekend and just prioritize reading just for pleasure and getting through that one, because I always feel like I have like kind of a hang up when it comes to rereading, where I feel like sometimes where I almost feel like, especially in terms of like making content on YouTube, I always feel like I should be prioritizing like new releases and new books rather than books I've already read. But I am enjoying Kingdom of Ash. I'm really enjoying the Easter eggs that are in there. And honestly, it's really cementing the fact that for me, I think Throne of Glass is my favorite series that Sarah J. Maas has come out with so far. Akatar is just okay for me. I think Throne of Glass like really grows into itself, especially from like the 3rd book on. You can see how like the writing style goes from like an author's debut as like a teenager, I think, when Sarah J. Maas wrote that one, to being more refined in her skill and her craft, because obviously that's what happens when you keep writing more. Your books get better and better generally. So I enjoy that series, I think, more than Akatar. Akatar, there are some books that I love, there's some books that I don't like. It's a very up and down series for me. Crescent City #1 will always have a soft spot in my heart because that was my very first Sarah J Maas book that I ever read and started this whole obsession. But I think the Throne of Glass series has my heart, so definitely I'll probably be continuing to read that. I think I'm on page 200 or so, and I think there's like 900 pages, so that's a lot. But those are the 2 books that I am currently reading and very much enjoying. So there you have it. That is a little reading update. Tomorrow I'm actually going with my partner to the library and picking up some holds and getting some physical books, because while I've really been enjoying the audiobooks and learning to love reading ebooks this year, I'm missing some physical books. I'm missing going to the library and getting physical books and reading them. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. So I will take you with me tomorrow and we'll do a little library book haul. But today all I really have planned is working and reading. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do one of those, and I will talk to y'all later. Hey friends, happy Sunday. It is time to wrap this weekly reading vlog up. I think it's been more than a week and it's time. I did finish Briardark and I really enjoyed it. It really worked for me. I don't think it's going to work for everyone, just because I notice a lot of people hate that it's the start of the series. It's the start of the series, and a series where you don't really get any questions answered. Usually I do prefer like to have some questions answered and then given more questions to like move us on to the next book in the series. Like this definitely, I think there are a couple of things that are answered, but for the most part you're still left in the dark. I still think that the Lost vibes are very, very accurate, especially like the first season, where you think it might just be like a survival story, and then you figure out that something strange is going on, people aren't alone in this wilderness area, and you know, maybe something sci-fi is going on as well. I almost want to pick up the physical version of the next book in this series, just because the found footage aspects I really enjoyed, or like the multimedia aspects in this book were really well done. Sometimes because I primarily listened via audiobook, and sometimes it was just a little bit hard to, you know, if you're listening to an audiobook of like text message transcripts, things like that can get a little annoying to read in audiobook form, because you don't need to read like all of the minutia, like sent 3:02 p.m. received 3:05 p.m. like all of that, like the little tiny details that make it cool to look at on a page. You don't need that all read out. So I think I might try and, whenever the second book in the series comes out, pick up the second book physically, because I can't find any information on book 2, which is kind of a bummer. But I'm definitely going with my kind of initial recommendation, Lost meets Blair Witch Project survival horror, and it was kind of fun to have an unofficial theme to this vlog. There was a lot of survival horror that got read. But just because it is Sunday, it's a good time to wrap up the vlog, because I am feeling very confident in myself, because I am in my Crescent City Massiverse reread. I'm on Crescent City 1 now, and I have the rest of today, Monday, and Tuesday-ish to finish the 2 Crescent City books before the 3rd one comes out, and I feel like I could do it. I feel like I could do it. So I think it's good to end the vlog here, give myself a couple of reading days where I just really focus on not updating a reading vlog, not trying to do like aesthetic B-roll footage and all of that, and hunker down and read those books, especially this book of the series. It's one where I don't don't want any spoilers. So I think we are going to end out the vlog here. I did have in some b-roll footage my library haul. I got a lot of good books, a lot of color coordinated books, which I didn't anticipate. I had placed some on hold and then I just saw some on the shelves that I wanted, and when I got to the car, looked at all the books, I'm like, oh wow, these have a very specific color scheme. So if you see any of those books in that haul that I did, any of those books that you want me to read in a future reading vlog, let me know down below. Let me know which one I should start with, because this week it's gonna be about Crescent City, but after I will definitely be diving into some of those library holds. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for all of the cozy gaming and bookish content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!